It is now week 5. Holy cow. We are getting somewhere. So I'm really proud of you. You're following along with both the workflow process, because we know quality comes from that, and learning the content. We're slowly starting to inch into the material we have through tutorials for our game engines, different resources we're going to use for film. We haven't quite delved really into those, but we're going to move into that this week. We're wrapping up pre-production this week. Now, pre-production is the most intensive part of the workflow. Production is, where we actually build the thing. And that actually goes much smoother if we've done pre-production properly. So we're practicing that. And then post-production is pretty simple. It's actually shorter for most of our work because we're wrapping things up and tidying things up. So we're going to continue on. Now this week, in week 5, you can see on the screen here, we've got the overview video. You're watching that right now. The professional quotient rubric. This is something we're going to be doing. The advisory committee, this was drafted by the advisory committee, is basically how to be professional. And I showed you this last week. I want to, let's see, is this going to load? Of course, when you're all watching, it's being shy. It's very colorful. So examine this and look over here on the 4 and just think about, how do I want to conduct myself in class to achieve that? Again, we'll be using this all year long. So, okay, now coming back into here, we're going to be moving into our role teams this week. Right now, you're currently sitting in your production teams. Production teams are, you have one person for each role that has to be completed for the team. Yay, you make a thing. But we have to understand what is our job for our role. And so we're going to move you for a couple days into role positions. And in film class, for instance, the editors will sit together and so on and so forth. And we're going to talk about what is your job. And inside here, we're going to complete. Now, we started working on this a little bit last week, writing a SMART goal and so on. We're going to talk about that in all my classes. Some classes we didn't talk about the SMART goal yet because you're not in your role teams. So I'll explain this and how it works. And we're going to use the project tracking sheet to put information in there for our SMART goal. Our SMART goal is essentially, what do we need to accomplish for our role? And right here, the blog post that we made last week, we're actually going to fill it in for the pre-production section. We have to do a little bit of research about who is good at our position. If I'm a level designer in game, who's a good level designer? Okay, we study them for a little bit. And all level designers, I want you to work together, for instance, to find somebody who is reputable, that has done a good job. Secondly, we're going to find a resource that's going to help train us on how to be better at our job. And I want, again, when you're sitting in your role teams, all of you to work together to help each other find a resource so that you're not alone. And if you haven't done this job before, you've never been a cinematographer, I'm going to guide you through this. And I have a whole list of resources we can pick from. But in your role teams, you'll pick a person who's really good, write a little bit about them in your blog, link in a video interview or something like that with them. Secondly, we'll find a learning resource that's really good, that's going to help us do our job for our SMART goal for this session. Those are the 2 things we want to accomplish this week. Once those are accomplished, then we move back into our production teams and we start production. So this will move really quickly later in the year. When we go into session 2, 3, and so on and so forth, this moves way faster. And if you're interested in how the class flows, these flow charts right here, if you click on through here, take a look at this. This is a session. Okay, I'm just going to say dig into this if you want. Open it up. It shows you all the steps of pre-production, production, post-production in a really visual kind of way. And then our class flowchart, this was in the syllabus. So you saw this. So again, skill teams or role teams, and then production teams. So this week we'll be focusing on this part right here. Now watch this. If I open this up in diagrams, wait for it, I authorize. And I log in as me, yay, blah, 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 continue. Again, this is another way to look at things. So I'm actually going to change this right here because I call it role teams now. It's basically skill teams, role teams. And this is what we're doing this week. Okay. And then in our production teams, this is what we've been doing and we'll continue to work on as we work on our stuff. So again, this is more the Leducian class experience and what it looks like. So that's that. Okay, now let's go back over here and wrap up our video. Okay, so role teams, working on our expectations, our goals for the session. A session is usually 3 weeks at the beginning of the year. Then it starts to get longer as we have more skills and are better at working with each other. A couple options at the bottom here. If you'd like to come into Coug Time, our Coug Time for Skills USA is preparing for a competition in January for all 3 classes. There's 3 different competitions. 2 of them are hosted at Capitol, the radio audio one for School of Rock, and the film cinematography one for the film classes. And then the 3rd one for game design is hosted at Newmarket Skill Center. And again, these all take place at the end of January. And during Coug Time, we talk about these competitions, how to prepare for them, essentially working on skills and getting better at making things. We also have the Skills USA Club, which we need a president, vice president, secretary, and treasurer. And there's different activities throughout the year that I'd like students to engage in. And this club should be run by students. And so we need student leadership and so on. So if you're interested in that, in any of my classes, 1, sign up to come to Coug Time. 2nd, you can sign up for Skills USA and help us guide how we spend our Coug Time and preparation for these competitions and other professionalism things that Skills USA represents. So, wow, all that stuff. And just remember, if you're missing things, let's go back out here. I'm using game design as an example today. You'll notice that I'll put this right here. The previous folders are here. So if you're missing something in the gradebook, come back here, read these, follow these directions, and so on and so forth. And I took things out of the week 3 folder and I put them into the week 4 folder that we move forward. And then now these 2 things we did last week, and now we have a few things to wrap up this week. And these were in the week 4 folder. I put them in the week 5 folder because we weren't done. So we're just moving them forward. All right, I know this video is a little bit longer, but that's the way I kind of roll. All right, thanks for watching.